After the first show, it was just astronomical. I mean, it was like opening the gates on a dam. It just started flooding in overnight.
Once the show became very successful, truly the crowds were amazing.
I always had a passion for motorcycles, and then in the, I guess the later part of the 90s, I opened up a little shop underneath my steel shop. And in actuality, my goal was to, just build maybe 5, 10 bikes a year. More for the hobby and passion than for making money. One day I got a call from Discovery, and they actually said, you want to do a 1-hour documentary on building a bike. It's kind of been history since then. I'm thinking theme bike,
I got some ideas for what we can do. I was thinking we could build a jet bike.
Guess we can go with that.
Yeah, building that bike was really cool, really heavily themed. And really, for me, it was like the beginning of a style.
What are you building, a wheelie bar? Do you even know what a wheelie bar looks like? I remember I was kind of thinking about how to act on TV, and I think at the last minute I just said, screw all that. I only know how to be me anyhow.
Then you come in here, Mr. Superhero, and just pick and choose what you want to do.
The fact that they showed all the raw footage, the dysfunction, the rage, to see yourself on TV yelling at your son and just, saying things that you would never really want people to hear you say. I brought Mikey in the very beginning there, and Mikey was always a funny kid.
What time are you supposed to be here?
It's Paulie's fault.
What do you mean it's Paulie's fault?
When I first found out that a film crew was coming to do a documentary on my father and brother, I was pretty excited for them, and I must admit that I kind of wanted on board right away.
Hey, you don't leave the shop from now on. You go nowhere. Nowhere.
I think Mikey's relationship with my father is different simply because I'm the oldest.
Let's heckle him.
You suck!
Yeah, I think Mikey made my father laugh, and for the most part, it seemed like I made my father angry.
Yeah, we had some really good times.
What I'm gonna have here is a raised web. To be able to execute something like that at just that right time and have people embrace it is a really awesome thing. And once the show came on, it just exploded, caught us completely off guard. I mean, just getting used to going places and really having people recognize you. It was something so new and different, and people, I think, really latched onto it.
Let's do this.
I think what we had that was unique was a combination of creativity as well as this raw honesty that no one had really quite seen on television before, this relatability in this family setting where people can just relate to the dysfunction of the situation. And that's really what started to resonate with people. Whether they liked it or didn't like it, they couldn't stop watching it.
You've never bent pipe rail one time in your life.
Yeah, I think for me and my father, the dynamic has really been two different approaches. I used to think that when I was younger, we were more alike because we would argue so much and be both very stubborn.
You weren't even a twinkle in my eye.
Twinkle, dinkle, dinkle, you never bent a piece of pipe.
I think the thing that Paulie frustrated me the most was his irresponsibilities, his arrogance, and lack of respect.
I'm the director.
What? Let's reverse roles. I'll tell you what to build, you build
that
it,
yet,
and I'll come out twice a day and complain about it.
Anybody who really thought all those fights were harmless obviously weren't related to what was going on. In arguments like this, nobody really wins. In the overall scheme of things, it sort of just keeps fueling the war.
I'm so fed up with this babysitting you. It's a 7:45.
Quarter to 8?
Yeah, everybody's in here at 7 o'clock, and you come walking in at 7:45. You have
I think the blowout my father had with my brother when he fired him wasn't any worse than your average blowout that they've had in the past. I think maybe it was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Everything gets done around here. Every bike that needs to get built gets done. Everybody's working at all times.
And you know, I look back at it when I watch the show, and I wish I would have responded differently. And I can't make any excuses for it. I mean, he could have fired me. I could have walked out calmly. But I didn't. I blew up. You know, I lost it. You know, you lose it sometimes because you got a lot of built-up anger.
You know what? Get the out of here. And don't bother coming in tomorrow because you're terminated.
Good, it's about time.
Basically, you know, I kind of looked at it as, is it really worth it? Is there a way to resolve this?
And, you know, in hindsight, it was awesome. I mean, I needed to be fired to be where I am now.
So without further interruption, my big brother and one of the greatest bike builders in the world, Paul Jr. and the anti-venom bike.
I think the reason why I didn't show up for Paulie's unveil, I would have took the attention off of him.
It was a great unveil. We had a great crowd. We are established in the industry as Paul Jr. Designs, and we're just going to keep cranking them out.
I've always had a volatile relationship with my father. It was more of the combative type relationship. Not always bad, but quite often not great.
This company just doesn't revolve around that bike, it revolves around everything else that you're not part of.
Business is business. Let's get the job done. I don't understand.
The one thing getting through this that we've learned is not to harbor resentment, because that resentment only eats you up.
There were good times. I think he's got a great sense of humor, and he's extremely talented.
I didn't agree with his actions. I didn't agree at all with the direction he took. But all that aside, I love my father.
But I'll always be his father, and he'll always be my son.
There were definitely times where we did some cool stuff. We had some awesome opportunities. You know, where we went places and did stuff, Europe, Australia. We had access to things that most people wouldn't have access to. You know, those are kind of the amazing moments, kind of historically, since we started building bikes.
Artillery load! Yeah, there were times that we had that were good, you know? And there were times where I really felt close to my father. We've always worked for my father, and we always wanted his approval in that. So I think occasionally we got it, and when you get that from your father, it gives you sort of a sense of self-worth and makes you feel really good.